the best of us. So I dance the night away when nobody's awake.
Welcome back to another powerful episode of Tyra's Just Saying, where real conversations meet real transformation. I am your host, Dr. Tyra, and today, well, y'all are in for a treat. Join me as I joining me today is a woman who embodies purpose, peace, and power, y'all. Her name is Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell. She's an award-winning attorney, CPA, best-selling author, business strategist, publisher, and the visionary behind Live Life on Fire. Child, that's a whole movement. I can't wait to hear about it. Lanita is known for helping her high achievers step out of stress and into success with joy, confidence, and clarity. She has built an empire rooted in service, leadership, and spiritual alignment. And today she's here to share the wisdom, the journey, and the truth behind living a fulfilled life, not just a successful one. So grab your tea, settle in, and get ready for a conversation that will ignite your fire. Lanita, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tyra, for having me. I am so excited.
Awesome. I am so happy to have you here. Because when you reached out, I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, oh, she got a lot going on. I said, I can't wait to get started with talking to her about some of the things that you have going on. And so you've achieved so much as an attorney and a CPA, as well as a speaker and an author and a business coach. What was the turning point when you realized the external success wasn't enough? And how did you inspire to create your live life on fire philosophy?
Yeah, so first I have to say, Dr. Tyra, thank you so much for creating this beautiful platform to have these candid conversations because it's just now recently that it's becoming mainstream. But we know
Mhm.
that as women, as entrepreneurs, as women who were raised almost by the same parents, that if you work hard, you'll be successful and you'll live happily ever after,
Mhm.
that this is something that has been percolating for decades.
Mhm. Right.
And so for me, the turning point, what happened in two parts.
Mhm.
Part one was when my daughter, she was 6 at the time,
Mhm.
found me passed out from exhaustion in the middle of the floor.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and she didn't know that I was incapacitated, thank God. She just
Mhm.
thought mommy was sleeping. And so
Okay.
she put her Disney blanket from
Mhm.
her bed onto me, and she got her little pillow
Mhm.
and she tucked it under my head and she kissed me on the forehead and said, "Good night, mama." And the only
Mhm.
thing I had strength to do was to say, "Good night, baby."
Oh
I was
wow.
too tired to put my
Mhm.
own child to bed. I couldn't get up. And
Mm.
that's where I slept.
Okay.
So that was part one. Part two, and this is what people don't tell you, is that the turning point is
Mhm.
not just like a right turn at the
Mhm.
corner, right? This
Mhm.
is something that happens over time and there are
Right.
steps. And so part two happened about 2 years later when
Mhm.
I could not stand the pain that I was in anymore.
Mhm.
I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, but I
Okay.
had been exhibiting symptoms of something wrong for quite some
Mhm.
time, and I
Mhm.
just kept managing. And
Okay.
it was not until I went to the doctor,
Mhm.
and I'm a lawyer, and this
Mhm.
time I'm on the other side of the table with someone else giving me release forms and
Right.
telling me that I might not make it through this series of surgeries that
Mhm.
included a 6-month prep on a
Mhm.
cancer medication
Mhm.
to burn off as much endometriosis as possible so they could save as much of my insides and my
Mhm.
life as they could.
Wow.
Right.
Mhm.
And so it was then that I said, God, if you bring me through this, I
Mhm.
will not just make the changes that are necessary, I will hire people to help me to do
Mhm.
so and to sustain this life. And
Mhm.
my daughter is now a freshman in college.
Oh
That
my
was,
gosh. Awesome.
yes. And so when I tell you that it was 2 years of weekly counseling sessions, it was
Mm.
2 years of breaking down what I had going on in life,
Mhm.
resigning from certain positions and organizations that, although were fabulous, Dr. Tyra, they
Right.
were no longer aligned with where God had me going, where I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be, and what
Mm-hmm.
everything was about
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
manifest in my
Right.
life. And so that was the arc. I no longer
Right.
embrace turning corner. It was an arc.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I mean that's an amazing story. That's a lot.
Hmm.
Wow. And but you made it through. And I know, when you look at your daughter, you see, how, like, oh my gosh, we here. I got, now I'm here. I watched her get to college. It's like I know everything is like so surreal.
Yeah.
How's your health now?
It is good now. But
Okay.
this is another thing that people don't tell you.
Mm-hmm.
They tell you this transformation story. I'm on the other side of through.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But there are still repercussions
Right.
to the
Okay.
life that we led before.
Okay.
One of them for me is because the surgeries were
Mm-hmm.
so invasive. I will always
Okay.
have scar
Mm-hmm.
tissue that will build up over time and I will have to go back. I
Okay.
had to have a surgery to remove scar tissue from my abdomen about 3.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is something, and I know that there are women in your audience who relate to this. I know
Yes.
that there are men in your audience who have women in their lives who
Mm-hmm.
they relate to this. And it
Right.
may not be endometriosis, it might be something else. But I
Mm-hmm.
want to be very clear that
Mm-hmm.
when we embrace a certain lifestyle, when we do
Mm-hmm.
things, there are consequences. And although we've changed the mindset and the heart space, that
Mm-hmm.
this is still something that we have to deal with, and it's our responsibility. And that's why I love that you've created this show and this platform. Thank you, to share so that other people don't go through this, because that's
Yes.
what real community is. That's what real being
Mm-hmm.
part of the village and loving other people as we love self, that's what it
Yes.
really looks like.
You're 100% right about that, And it was like I created this, and it's so funny because I created Tyra's just saying, because you're going to laugh when I tell you this, because people kept asking me, do you know someone that could do this? And you know somebody that could do that? Do you know? And I was just like, oh my God. And a friend of mine was like, you always saying something, Tyra. Tyra's just saying. And we just started laughing. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it a blog. So it actually was a blog. And then I turned it into into this when COVID came.
Well,
And
now you know what? You got to have friend on the show and be like, girl, do you remember
oh
when?
God, it's so funny because actually it was one of my male coworkers that
Okay.
that did it, and he's actually a voiceover. He does a lot of voiceovers, and he just bust out laughing. He was just like, "Yeah, I knew you would do this." He was like, "I saw it in you. We all saw it in you. Everybody, him and his wife, just crack up all the time. They like, we all saw it."
I love that. I
And I
love
said, "Oh,
that.
good Lord." I said, "Yeah, well, that's how I started." And it's just like when I look at where I'm at now, like I've been on hiatus for a little bit, but I'm coming back trying to, build it back up to where it once was, like during those COVID times. But, to get us back to these interviews two and three a week.
Yeah. But you know
Yeah,
what,
so
Tyra?
mhm,
I really respect the fact that you took time for you,
yeah,
that you took time to reevaluate where you were in your life, what your audience needs. And,
yes,
you're building on a firm foundation, but there is going to be more and greater that you do.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And so we're
Mhm.
gonna dive back into this interview. Can you
Let's
walk us
see.
through your 5-step formula for bridging the gap between success and joy?
Absolutely. So the first thing is we have to separate ourselves person and petty. What does that look like?
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? And and I'm gonna say this.
Hmm.
Everything that I share with y'all, these are things that I had to come to myself.
Okay.
So and for any of you who are in the coaching space, you're the first client. You are your first client.
Right.
So everything I'm sharing is real talk, okay? So there is the person who is standing
Hmm.
in front of you, who
Hmm.
is created by God, divine being, just like
Hmm.
you, right?
Right.
And they have the potential to be excellent, amazing, dreamy, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then there is the human that is
Right.
in them, right?
Hmm.
And
Right.
the human can be petty, small minded, vindictive.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever is standing on the X in front of that person, the
Mm-hmm.
human, is going to
Yes.
touch it. So it's not personal from the
Mm-hmm.
perspective of why are they treating me this way? They
Mm-hmm.
would treat anybody who was standing there at that moment that
Mm-hmm.
way. And so when we're
Mm-hmm.
able to remove the personal from it, we can take
Yes.
very affirmative, positive, loving steps that establish boundaries for us
Right.
and also reflect back to the person their behavior, but also
Mm-hmm.
the fact that I am not the one that you want to cross this line with, right?
Right.
And it's important that we establish that because, which leads to number two, we determine the standards for
Mm-hmm.
our lives, not
Right.
somebody else. So
Mm.
there is perfect and then there's excellent. Most of us were raised to chase and challenge and embrace perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect practice makes perfect, right?
Right.
But we all know that it's not true. That is something that you aspire to, but it's something that's just outside of your reach. And it creates real frustration. It creates
Mhm.
burnout. It
Right.
creates depression. And then we lead into self harm and we lead into damaged relationships. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we lead into that hereafter. We're
Right.
not doing that, right? And
Right.
so instead of trying to meet somebody else's standard, that's really the definition of perfection, checking somebody
Mm-hmm.
else's boxes.
Mm.
You instead
Yes.
embrace an excellent life. This is a life
Mm-hmm.
that is full of grace, that
Mm-hmm.
has a sliding scale. This is a life where we set the standard and it will change over time. And
Mm-hmm.
so if we had a late night like I did last night, my niece
Mm-hmm.
has her baby shower today. We're throwing it.
Oh,
Was up.
nice.
Yes, right.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So this is be my first grand niece or nephew, so I'm really excited. I gave myself grace to not rise at my normal time of 5:45,
Okay.
right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
needed extra rest because I knew I had this podcast. I knew I wanted to show up the
Mm-hmm.
best way that I could, and I needed to sleep. I needed
Yes.
to sleep. But you can't do that if you have in your mind, well, this ultra successful person wakes up at
Mm-hmm.
5:45 every day, no matter what.
Right.
Right? And that leads us into the third thing, which is we wind up stretched thin. I'm
Mm.
talking
Oh
about
my God.
beyond a worn out rubber band, right?
Right.
We wind
Mm-hmm.
up in a place where we are overextended.
Mm-hmm.
We have said yes to things we clearly know we should have said no to, not because
Right.
they're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to pause here for a moment. Let's be real clear, Dr. Tyra.
Mm-hmm.
At this big grown age,
Right.
we know what is mess and what is
Mm-hmm.
going to bless. And so we
Mm.
know
You
how to say
you can
no
say
to
that again. We know that. Mm-hmm.
right. We know that. So the things we have in our lives now are beautiful. They are
Mm-hmm.
positive. They are
Mm-hmm.
absolutely worthy of our time, talent, and treasure. But
Right.
they are not necessarily consistent with our purpose and
Mm-hmm.
what God has given us for our vision for our lives. And
Right.
so for me, during that arc, when I was
Mm-hmm.
working with Reverend Rowena Silvera Beck, she is a performance coach for that 2 year period.
Mm-hmm.
We went through 6 pages of roles and responsibilities that I have in my life. And for any
Okay.
of you saying, oh my gosh, that's crazy, you have them too, because you're
Mm-hmm.
not just a mom.
Right.
Particularly if you have small kids, you
Mm-hmm.
are also the nutritionist. You are also the play date coordinator. You
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
also transportation.
Mm-hmm.
You are also the cook, the cleaner. You are
Mm-hmm.
also the medicine woman when they get sick. That is 6 roles right there in just mom. Now you
One
add
person.
for one person. You add
Mm-hmm.
on your community involvement, your
Mm-hmm.
civic engagement, your
Mm-hmm.
religious or faith-based organizations, and I haven't even touched work. And many of
Mm-hmm.
you are dualpreneurs, so you have the 9 to 5, and then you have the thing that makes your heart sing and brings money
Mm-hmm.
into your house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going through those things and saying this has to go because it is no longer consistent with my path.
Right.
It might take time to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, and that leads to the next one, It is embracing the path that is set before you and saying yes to the vision
Mm-hmm.
and no to the distractions.
Mm.
And that's hard when those distractions,
Very hard.
right, appear as family, as friends,
Mm.
as people who have supported us in the past. It
Right.
creates a feeling of guilt and shame and remorse because
Mm-hmm.
you feel that there is some quid pro quo that is due here.
Mm-hmm.
No, never. Let me tell you, at every point in place and moment of your life, you are
Mm-hmm.
exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're executing exactly as you were supposed to do. And we do not
Mm.
look left or right for our blessings. Blessings
Right.
flow down. That
That's
means
right.
that they are continually running off to the next person. So a
Mm-hmm.
person who has given, who has supported, who has been
Mm-hmm.
there for you, they did what they were supposed to do because the
Right.
blessing flowed down to you. That
Right.
does not mean that you are now supposed to give to the left or to the right. That
Right.
means that somebody or something else is going to provide for them and be the vessel for the blessing.
Right.
Which leads to the last thing is realizing that joy, peace, and fulfillment are the ultimate to the successful life. Because
Mm-hmm.
joy, that's an inside job. To even realize that your blessings are coming from outside of you, that means that you can say that I'm open to receive and you can close off whenever,
Mm-hmm.
that you have a an infinitely renewable source
Right.
that can and will be available to you no matter what is going on in your life. And as a person who has stared down death, literally died in the hospital and came back, have
Right.
seen the hills of glory, I can say these things because I know that these things are for me. And
Right.
I have come to this place, I have come to this moment where I
Mm-hmm.
can say to you that no matter what is going on externally, internally, you've got this. There's not a person, there's not a place, there's not a thing that is
Mm-hmm.
going to take you off unless
Right.
you allow it. So
Mm-hmm.
you're driving.
Right.
So unless or until you give the wheel to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you are still going where you're supposed to go. But that only happens when you understand that the things that you want, the things you desire,
Right.
that's coming from here. That
Okay.
cannot come from out there because
Right.
then that means that somebody else emotionally hijacks you whenever they feel like it.
Mm. Mm,
And
mm,
it becomes
mm.
a problem. So that's the
Mm.
5 steps. They're easy.
I love it. Look, I was sitting here. Look, I'm sitting here taking notes,
You took
child. Look,
notes. What? You took notes. I love it. I
look,
love
I
it. I
was
love
sitting here
it. Tell me
taking
your
notes.
light is
Look,
back.
I was sitting here. I'm like, okay, her light. I said, but you know what? The light went out, but look, the message is still good. We gonna keep it. She's keeping it going. Look, I was sitting here taking notes. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, sometimes you know when you need to hear something. We needed to have this today. This needed to be this conversation, this podcast session needed to be had today. So I definitely need to hear all of this. This was good, especially step 4. Look, especially step 4. It's like, yo, I'm like, yeah, I have issues with that. I got my vision, but I'm easily distracted. And the distractions don't even be family. It be other stuff that I'm doing, and it's just like you be focused on so many things at one time that you end up in a situation. And that's me 100 times over. Okay. And so
And
I was
don't
just like,
feel bad, Dr. Tyra. It's all of us. It's everybody.
and I said, oh my goodness. I said, but the emotional hijacking is real. And that's what a lot of people don't realize that, yeah, people do things and they set out to, you know, come at your emotions.
Yes.
They play on you
Yes.
as
Yes.
long as you allow them.
That's
And
right. And that
hmm
and that comes back to step one with you got to
hmm
separate the person from the petty. You know,
yeah.
and I don't know why, but I'm gonna say this. It's on me. This applies to your romantic relationships as well, everybody.
Oh my gosh, yes. Because
Yeah.
people try to separate that. And it's like, no.
No, you cannot do that. I saw a gentleman talking about the talk he had with his teen daughter because it was
Mhm.
time for her to start dating. And he
Mhm.
told her, he said, you cannot make a life with somebody based on their potential.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
have to have already realized that if
Mhm.
you're serious about being in a relationship with them, because everybody has potential, because everybody was formed the same way
Mhm.
by
Right.
the same creator. And so
Right.
we all have it in us,
Mhm.
right? But
Mhm.
some of us choose to activate it and
Mhm.
live in a self actualized way, and
Right.
others of us choose not to do so. And it is
Right.
a choice, but
It's
we
a
have to
major
honor
choice.
it. There you go. That's right, Dr.
Mhm.
Tyra. That's exactly right.
We have control of our decisions and our choices.
That's
And
right.
as soon as people start realizing that, the world will be a better place.
Yes, yes. In the words of the great Lisa Nichols, yes, yes.
Yes, yes. And so, with that being said, many people struggle to balance professional ambition as well as their personal fulfillment. What advice do you have for high achievers who feel successful on paper but find themselves still chasing that meaning or happiness and joy?
Yeah, so as a recovering successaholic, right?
Oh, ooh.
Yeah,
And
I
people don't think that exists, but it does.
oh it absolutely does. And I
Hmm.
said it a little facetiously, but I actually am serious because once you get used to people saying, "Oh, you're so amazing. I
Hmm.
just love having you on my
Hmm.
team. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're here. We don't know
Hmm.
what we would do without you."
Hmm.
It
Right,
becomes a drug. And you
right.
will do whatever you need to do to
To keep
hear
that
that.
keep that high.
That's exactly right.
Hmm.
And so the first thing that we have to do is we have to turn off that external noise and
Hmm.
go into silence and
Hmm.
really go into why that
Hmm.
is something that is necessary. For me, from the time I was small, I have been
Hmm.
surrounded by people who love me, cheer me, champion me. And
Right.
so I conflated my self worth and self esteem with
Hmm.
doing good. And it took years for me to disentangle those two things. For
Hmm.
somebody else, it might be that they used achievement and success as a
Hmm.
way to self medicate because they never heard, "You're great. I love you. I think you're going to be successful." And
Hmm.
there might be other reasons. I am
Hmm.
not a psychologist, sociologist, psychiatrist, or therapist, but I am a person who has lived this and continues to live it. Which is the second thing is to call, you need help, you need support,
Hmm.
because once you realize it and you
Hmm.
determine, "I want to make the change,"
Hmm.
you want it to be sustainable and
Right.
lasting. And
Oh
so
my
you
God.
have people in your life, who
Hmm.
you love, trust, admire, respect. When they
Hmm.
call you out, you hear them. I have girlfriends I've known since college who
Hmm.
are very comfortable saying, "No, ma'am." Straight faced, no twitch of the lips, like for real, like get yourself together.
But I like that they're able to say no because
Absolutely.
that's a statement that nobody people are afraid to use it.
You started a whole new episode with that. We are afraid to say no and
They're
to hear
afraid to
no.
use it. They're
We act
afraid to
like the
use it.
world is going to come to an end, don't we?
A whole is like, no, I can't do that. I have to help. I have to. You can't have help and save everybody. Stop it.
And you have to, otherwise you're going to work yourself in the early grave, which is
Yes.
basically the last part. I mean, raise your hand if you know a woman, a hard worker, a friend who had a heart attack or a stroke before they were 40. Yeah, that's
Right.
insane. That is absolutely insane.
Hmm.
But that is something that is very real in
Hmm.
community. Not just, our community, however you affiliate, in
Hmm.
community. So
Right.
we have to tag in. We have to talk to one another. We have to determine we're going to make a change. We have to be real. We have to take time to go within every day, even if it's just for 2 minutes. Check in
Hmm.
with yourself.
Right. Hmm. You
Breathe
def
deep.
you got to. You got to check in with yourself. Because if you don't check in with yourself, who will?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Dr. Tyra.
Who will? Who will? I tell you, I'm loving this conversation this morning. And so with the many of your life lessons come from overcoming challenges professionally and personally. When did when you looked at it, when you had everything that was going on, right, and you had all of these challenges, and then you decided to start this movement, what influenced you? What message do you give for those that seeking transformation?
So first I tell my clients and my audiences the same thing I'm going to tell you. It starts within.
Okay.
If you want external changes, that is a manifestation of an internal shift.
Hmm.
And unless or until you're willing to deal with you, you're not
Hmm.
going to see it. It's not going to be sustainable. And that's just what it is. An
Right.
example that most of us are familiar with, weight
Hmm.
loss. All the wonderful things that we have as far as these gadgets and equipment,
Hmm.
programs,
Right.
right? If you come off any of these programs, these supplements,
Hmm.
and you've not made the life changes,
Right.
you go back and you probably gain more.
Right.
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt myself. Okay.
Right. Hmm.
So what it takes is the self-reckoning.
Hmm.
So I mentioned taking time with you every day.
Hmm. Hmm.
Most mornings, this morning
Hmm.
was an exception because I really needed sleep.
Okay.
Get up early and I
Hmm.
take at least 30 to 45 minutes for
Hmm.
myself. I breathe in
Okay.
through the mouth, out through the mouth.
Hmm.
I stretch my body
Hmm.
and then I go into prayer and meditation.
Okay.
I journal.
Hmm.
I open the window to get some fresh air. I take a
Okay.
walk to get
Hmm.
some real vitamin D on the
Right.
skin, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I go through a litany of all the things that I'm grateful for, even
Hmm.
when life is hammering.
Right.
And I'm smiling, but
Hmm.
life's for me too. Is
Right.
it true
I
to say life
understand.
be lifing, right?
Right. It does. It
Right.
really does.
And so if we want to be able to deal with that part of our life, then we have
Hmm.
to be committed
Hmm.
to starting it off with time with us
Right.
and hearing from the divine and the God of our understanding. And I say it
Hmm.
like that because a lot of times we assume that the experiences that we have, that
Hmm.
somebody else has. And that is
Right.
just not the case.
Right.
And so we really have to be more expansive in how
Right.
we deal with people and how we
Hmm.
communicate with them,
Yes.
particularly when we're talking about our journey.
Mhm. You're right.
Yeah,
Everybody's experiences is different.
yeah,
Everybody's journey is different,
yeah.
and it's just being able to, you know, help guide them through, but at the end of the day, they gotta want the help and they gotta want to change. Because I know being a coach, being a business coach, we get people that come and say they want change and they not ready,
No,
and they're not doing the work. So
no,
that's a big problem
yes.
for all of us. So, and I look, I get it. I get it. I get it. All right. So you also run Leading Through Living community and have mentoring and publishing arms. How do you integrate your experience as a lawyer, business owner with your coaching and authorship to guide others toward building purpose-driven careers or businesses?
Yes. So, that attire, that took several years as well. I
Hmm.
found it leading through living in 2013.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And LMB law offices, I found it in 2006,
Hmm.
right? So coming up on 20 years.
Hmm.
And for the longest time, I had two trains running.
Okay.
And that was one of the things that led to my complete and utter shutdown, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But it also led to my breakthrough, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I'm finally at the place where everything is integrated. So when we're talking about how do I empower my clients,
Mm-hmm.
so my clients are mostly small business owners and entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And most of them have a story similar to mine, similar to
Mm-hmm.
yours,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to their getting that story out, I
Mm-hmm.
don't try to do that myself. I
Mm-hmm.
have affiliate agreements and relationships and partners,
Mm-hmm.
people that I work with that I pay so
Okay.
that I know the quality of service my clients are going to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have them work with them to get their message tightened, to
Okay.
do their speaking, to
Mm-hmm.
publish their books, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am absolutely their lawyer, and I
Mm-hmm.
am managing this process from a high level perspective to make sure all of
Mm-hmm.
the the intellectual property is protected. So that's
Okay.
copyright, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the brand is succinct and consistent across
Mm-hmm.
everything they're working on, because that was
Right.
something that I struggled with. So I've
Mm-hmm.
got that now, right? And
Right.
I'm also working to ensure that their legacy is protected. So the
Mm-hmm.
estate planning, the will, the trust, the
Okay.
power of attorney, everything
Mm-hmm.
is solid. And when you get to the place where you realize you don't have to do it all and you shouldn't do it all,
Right.
but you do want to have proficiency so that you can. Gus Colley said this to me. He was one of my first
Mm-hmm.
sales coaches. He said, you must inspect what you expect.
Whoa.
Right. But in order
Mm-hmm.
to do that, you have to have a certain level of proficiency, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So
Right.
you would have had to go through it yourself so that
Mm-hmm.
you can actually provide excellent client service.
Right. Okay.
Notice the emphasis on the excellent, going back to that. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say perfect,
Right.
they're excellent.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Awesome. And so I know you have a couple of amazing things coming up. You have your retreat.
Yes.
Tell us all about the retreat. So
Yeah,
your retreat, I know, is in January 16th to the 19th in Charleston, South Carolina.
that's right.
Tell us about the Greater Than Retreat.
Yes. So greater than is based on John 14:12, when Jesus tells the disciples, and you will do greater works than these. And
Hmm.
it is the remembrance
Hmm.
of who we are, what we are, how we serve, as Paul Selig says so beautifully in his I
Hmm.
Am the Word series,
Hmm.
of who we really are. That we were made in God's image, and that means that everything that we have ever wanted to do and every skill, gift, talent that we have within us is used to create the life that we want. And
Okay.
so, no more shutting off our intuition,
Hmm.
denying that our dreams mean something,
Hmm.
that our clear senses are absolutely 100% online,
Hmm.
and that we are in a place where we can use those gifts
Hmm.
in order to bless ourselves and
Hmm.
others. And that's
Okay.
in every area of our life. And so that's business,
Mhm.
that's that's also in our communities,
Okay.
and it's at home. And part of it, Dr. Tyra, is that many of us were told that some of these things were demonic, that they were
Hmm.
not of God, and that
Hmm.
you shouldn't listen to them. But we
Right.
all hear that soft, still voice. We all have these sensations that come over us when a certain
Hmm.
person thinks. We all have deja vu.
Right.
This retreat allows us to reintegrate those gifts
Hmm.
back into our normal everyday lives so that we
Okay.
can be of service. One of
Right.
the things that I share with people, I will never forget one day during my prayers, I was just being very
Hmm.
thankful. I mean,
Hmm.
like my heart was overflowing with gratitude,
Hmm.
particularly for one of my clients whose mother had passed years ago. I'd only
Hmm.
met her one time. So it's
Right.
not like I knew her well,
Hmm.
but I clearly heard her voice.
Okay.
And I told my client, and she was I said, you know, your mom is really proud of you.
Hmm.
And she looked at me, she tilted her head, she said, what my mom really say?
Hmm.
And I looked at her, I said, well, okay, actually, she said, yes, she is doing well, and you had better do well by her too. Like, and I
Mm.
felt rather than saw,
Okay.
you know, the
Right.
neck and all the rest of it. And my client, she was not shocked at all. She started laughing. She said, now that's my mama.
Hmm.
And it dawned on me, Dr. Tyra, the only person who is shocked when we share these types of instances
Hmm.
is us.
Right.
We have been trying to like hide under a rock for so long the things that we know we can do,
Right.
that we're surprised when other people say, "Oh yeah, girl, I saw you peeking out from behind that rock. I was just waiting for
Hmm.
you to come around."
Right.
And so once I came around,
Hmm.
and once I embraced it, and I got the training that was necessary. I got my doctorate in spiritual studies and
Okay.
worked with we worked with preeminent people in this space.
Hmm.
I was able to share even more and have been able to be an even better advisor
Okay.
to the people who trust me. And
Okay.
and that is what we're doing on the retreat, allowing other people to come into their skills, gifts, talents, treasures, their blessings, so that
Hmm.
they can be a blessing to others.
Awesome. Oh, I love it. So it
Thank
sounds like it's going to be a very powerful weekend.
you. It is indeed.
Awesome. And is there still spaces available for those who might want to join the retreat?
I have one space left, literally one space
Awesome. How
left.
many people are you having?
So we have 14 confirmed.
Oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So,
That is
Dr. Carr, I'm gonna
awesome.
tell you, this was not a hard sell. We everybody's getting facials from Faces by Liz. Everybody's getting
Okay.
massages by Nasha Chandri.
Mhm.
It is an incredible mansion on the sea, and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yes, and we have the run of the place.
Okay.
My mom has her catering business, Auntie's Baked Goodies, and she will be making all meals from scratch on
Okay.
property. And
Okay.
we are going to be spoiled. We have our chief fun officer, line dancing instructor Dora Pearl, out of Pooler, Georgia, which is near Savannah. And
Okay.
you know, we have an amazing weekend planned. So it's fun, but it also is the spiritual work. And when you
Yeah,
wrap all that together, yeah, we're divine. We are absolutely in our divine feminine. We
that
are,
is awesome.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. That is going to be great. So, is there anything else you would like to share with the audience today before we close out?
Absolutely. I would love to connect with you.
Yeah.
Come to my website, join my email list. My name is where you can find me everywhere online. Lynita, spelled Lynita Mitchell Blackwell. For the most part, I do follow back on social. So if you follow me and that you have a real picture,
That part. Look, that part.
yeah, because I do believe in community. I mean, I
Yes.
would I love to have like 100,000 people following. Yeah, that would be great. But my message is for the people who are in
Or
front of
right.
me.
I know that's right. I
Yeah,
know that's right. We definitely got to be strategic with it. And everybody always like, oh, you need more followers. And it's like, okay, well, those is following. I think I have enough,
yeah,
but if who wants to come through will come through,
that's right.
and we'll leave it at that.
There you go. I like it.
This was awesome. Well, I thank you so much for joining me this morning on Tyra's Just Saying, our thankful Saturday episode as we prepare for this Thanksgiving this week. I want you to have an awesome day. Everybody, make sure you follow Lynita Mitchell Blackwell on all things social media. And thank you so much for spending your Saturday morning with me.
It has truly been my pleasure, Tyra. Thank you.
Yes, and we definitely gonna stay in touch.
Yes, ma'am.
All all right. Thank you. And everyone have an awesome and amazing Saturday. God bless.